All right. In this slide, what I will be showing you, our next set of commands I'm very interested to introduce you is user related commands, right? These 4 user related commands, for example, if I change this interface again to the different background and foreground, because this gives much visible resolution. The first command in user related information is who. Who is a command tells me that who else logged into the system. Ravi, and here is a second column and here is a third column, right? It is telling me that these 3 users logged in to the system. There are 3 different sessions. Ravi here logged in from TTY1, Ravi here logged in from PTS0, Ravi here logged in from PTS1. When I say TTY and enter, it will tell me that what terminal I am working on right now. So this session is from this terminal. Now where are these 2 sessions came from, right? Now let me go inside this guy here, and if I exit and if I come back here and if I do who, there is one more session here. Now from where this session opened, and here is another session. Now if you look at here, this session is associated with current terminal, but I don't have any session opened anywhere, but still this guy is showing you here. If you look at the date here, how do I look at the date? When I say date, it will show me that current date and time as per the server. So this is opened on 9/12, but I am right now in 13th. So this means this session has been opened day before yesterday, or in fact yesterday, sorry, and it's still there. Probably this is like some junk session. We can kill it. Okay, let's not go to the concept of how do we kill it. This concept I'll explain you in Unix processes. For time being, what I want you to concentrate is just concentrate on these output. When I say W, it tells me that who is the user, from what terminal he or she logged in, at what time he logged in, what is the IP address. Good so far? The another command is W. So W command will give me a little detailed information. For example, same information. So it also tells me that how much is a CPU I have used and what is the exact command we are running, right? What is the exact command we are running? If you look at on TTY1, there is some PAM module, I believe this is with respect to LDAP authentication or something. I'm running this command here. Okay, I'll see that later. But the one I am interested here is, this is the current one that I have just ran it here. Okay, just in case I open a duplicate session here and I enter as a root and password. If I come back here and just press W, I'll see the third session for this guy. And he is running nothing, but if he is running nothing, by default it will show you the default shell, default interface this guy is associated. By default shell, what I mean here is, we'll see in later sessions. How do I find out which default shell I am part of? The command is echo. Echo is like a printf command. You simply have to say echo $shell. Right now this guy is associated in bash. That's the default command he is running. Now the interesting point here I wanted to highlight is, this guy is coming from PTS1. When I say TTY here, this is the terminal he associated with. Okay. Now the another set of command is who am I. Will tells me that what is the current user ID I logged in. as. And there is another thing called who space am space I. Who space am space I. This tells me that current session that I have opened from which terminal, only the row that I have associated with. You know, most of the Unix commands are single words, but this is one exception where you have command which is space separated. You see what I'm saying? If I do a quick recap, so let me introduce one more command called clear, which will actually clears the entire screen. And if I run the commands one after the another, who, w, who am I, who space am space I. These are the 4 user related commands that I fancy more each day, right? One advantage of w with respect to who is, it shows me that the current command I am also running. Okay. Again, going back to my initial instructions are not by hearting or mugging any of these commands. If just in case you forget these commands, all you have to do is just simply say man-k who. It will tell you, or it will set all the manual pages for respective word matching. And it will display all the commands that are associated with this word matching. So man is that powerful thing. I don't have to remember. For example, when I say man-k, I don't exactly remember what is the syntax here. If I just remember only unam, I can directly search it from man-k. This is the string that I remember, only part of an entire string. I'll see all the associated commands. Then I can simply use uname-a. If I do a quick recap, we have been introduced to a command called uname, wh for who, w, who am I, who space am space I, and I also introduced to a command called clear, and I also introduced to a command called echo shell. We'll see more on this in environment variables. What else we covered? There is a command called history. It will tells me that what commands I have used so far. So anything new? Yeah, we have used tty command too, right? Very good. Moving forward. So here are the few miscellaneous commands. One miscellaneous command is stty. Okay. This is a very important command with respect to the terminal settings. When I type something like this junk, and if I want to erase this, what is the character I need to press? I need to press backspace. Or if I want to interrupt this line, I simply press Ctrl C so that I'll go to the next line. But I'm a guy who doesn't like Ctrl C. But I'm a guy who doesn't like backspace. So that does not stop me from using boxes like this, right? Now, I have an option to set my own environment, own terminal settings. What I mean by my own terminal settings is, when I say stty-a, it will show me all the terminal settings. One such setting is interrupt is Ctrl C here. But I want Ctrl A as an interrupt, man. I don't want Ctrl C as an interrupt. Right? Now, how do I change this setting is stty-intr, cap symbol and A. When I do this, when I type some junk, and if I press Ctrl C, it won't take it. Because I have given a new instruction to this shell here that take only Ctrl A as an interrupt key. Now if I press Ctrl A, it will take it. You got my point? Everything is flexible in Unix or Linux operating system. That's the point I am trying to make. All the default settings you can modify. I mean, not all, but most of the things. So what happens if I open a duplicate session and log in as the same user, and when I press stty-a, what happens to the interrupt key here? Will this session show interrupt key as Control C or Control A? Any quick guesses? When I press enter, it will show interrupt key as Control C only, because the settings we have done here are only for the terminal, only for this terminal. How do I make this global? I'll explain that concept again in environment variables, where we have an option to set these settings in a global profile so that all the new sessions will inherit from that point. For time being, remember this point as whatever we do here is only applicable for this session. Okay. If I want to put this back, cap C. If I press Control C, it acts as an interrupt now. You see my point? How can we change terminal settings? Okay. The next command I wanted to introduce is Ifconfig. Ifconfig will basically give you the IP address. Okay. Now this gives so much of data, man, here. So all I do is simply I run this, so that if you just want the IP address, you just get the IP address. Now please don't ask me at this point that what are all these commands. Okay. Now at this level, just use this command from the PPT, and I'll explain you these commands when and where the opportunity occurs in our sessions. Okay. Now out of this entire output, I just got the respective IP address I want. Okay. So far so good, right? Very good. Here are the few miscellaneous commands, such as when I say cal, it will show me the calendar for the current month. When I maximize the screen, and when I say calendar for 2015, it will show me the entire calendar, which is with highlight of current date. When I say calendar of 2016, it will show me the entire calendar. When I say calendar of 5th month of 2016, it will show me the 5th month of 2016. You can play around, you know. And the next one is banner. In Linux, by default, you don't have banner command, but you can install an RPM to get a banner command. But at a high level, what this banner command does here is it maximizes the given content, given input. So sometimes in headings, what you have to do is you have to have a big heading here, like welcome to Unix basics class. You want to have a banner, kind of that length. So whatever the information you pass with this banner command, it will display in such a big font. Okay. Now clear we have already looked at. Clear will just clear it. Okay. When I say history, it will show me that this is the command I typed. Now the next important command, which is very useful in our day-to-day life, is alias. Alias, you got it right, is a nickname. If I am lazy to type history, right, all I can say is alias h as history. From next moment onwards, I can simply say h, right? Similarly, I can say alias c equal to clear. From next moment, I don't have to type entire 5 characters for clear. I can simply say c and enter. Now let me open another terminal and log in as a same user. Can you tell me when I type h what happens? Command not found. Why command not found? These aliases, again, like stty settings, are only session dependent, right? When I say alias and enter, it will show me all the aliases in the system. Similarly, when I say alias and enter here, it will show me the aliases associated with the terminal. You see my point? Yes. Again, how do I make a specific alias across all the sessions? I'll explain you that concept in environment variables and session, associated profile settings and global profile settings in the next classes. Okay. Coming back to the presentation again. Here is another miscellaneous command called date. We have already looked at, right? So if I quickly say date, when I say date plus percentage %d, date plus percentage %t, date plus percentage %d hyphen percentage %m hyphen percentage %y, in a various formats you can define. Where do we use this date command is most frequently while appending date to a log file in Unix, so that you might have to see it in a shell scripting classes. Now this is how I change the date. If I want to change the system date, just specify date in this format. It will change the date, but you need a root permission to change date in Unix or Linux systems. Okay. The next command we have is history command. We have already looked at this history command. What happens when I say history here? It will show me the history. When I say history 20, it will show me the past 20 history commands. If I want to repeat a specific command, exclamation repeats the previous command. When I say exclamation specific 44, it will repeat the 44 command. I'll explain you these ls in a file system options. Okay. So similarly 55 command, it will return specific command. Similarly, another important command is password. Password will help me to change the password. It helps me to change my own password. Okay. If I am a user like a normal user like Ravi, when I say password, it will ask me for the current password. I need to enter my new password. So it's saying it's a bad password. So let me enter a nice one. Oh, we have exact maximum number of retries. Let me try again.